Welcome back to Ugly Truck. Today we're back on the 85 C10 LS swap, and hopefully we have pushed this thing into the shop for the last time.
Okay, we're gonna get this baby wired up on a original LS wiring harness. This is the plug that we're going to be dealing with. It is on a wiring diagram. It's called connector number 2. It's black. It has all the wires in it that we need to make this truck run and drive. Okay. The wires that we're concerned with that come out of the truck originally on an 85 C10 are going to be the original wire that went to the HEI ignition. So that'll be the run and crank wire. And then the other wire that we're going to be using that's coming out is going to be the purple wire, which this wire originally went down to the starter to engage the starter solenoid. Going into the firewall, we still, from when we took everything apart, we're going to have to put power going into it, but that's no big deal. We'll do that. We'll do that probably afterwards when we're ready to fire it up. So I bought 2 of these. This truck, it'll start and run on a total of 3 relays. And then I think 6 or 8 fuses total that run everything. So we'll do 1 circuit at a time, which is, to me, a lot easier. We'll just run down the list of each circuit that it needs. I'll go into this plug. We'll find which wires that we need, and we'll start wiring them into our new relay and fuse panel. So let's get started. Okay, on this fuse panel, I already went through my circuits, and I know what I'm going to need for power wires going to the fuses. So I already did up a few of them. Crimped them, and then I soldered the ends, so I can go ahead and start putting this together. I got 1 circuit that's a 20 amp circuit. It's a 12 gauge wire for a 20 amp circuit. So the majority of them are 15 amp circuits, so I'll use 14 gauge wires on it. Okay, so we'll start with this circuit first, okay? So there's half of my fuse panel. I'm going to start with this being number 1. It's going to be our PCMB fuse. So, and it's hot all the time. Emily wrote the picture of the circuit up there, and we'll wire it into this fuse panel. So, okay, so this is a 2005 Chevy Suburban. Great thing about the internet, all the information you can get off it. We use a shop program to get all of ours, but you can still get all the wiring diagrams pretty much that you'd need to do it for whatever your engine came out of, because a 2004 might be a little bit different. So you have to have a wiring diagram for it to tell you which wires are which. If you don't have one, then you really gotta start tracing wires back and forth just to make sure. But it's hard for you to see here, but on this one, this wiring diagram will tell you that it's a wire that's in connector number 2. the B8. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, B8 on that connector. So I'll go to the connector, I'll find B8, and I'll bet you there'll be a couple of orange wires going to it. So I'm reading it upside down, so the numbers will go from right to left, but B would be the second one up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this one right here. So flip it over, and sure enough, it has 2 orange wires going to it. Okay. In order to get these out, you pull that out of them. In order to get the pin out, there's a little plastic tab in there. You got to reach in, push it off to the side just a little bit, and your wire will come out. These 2 wires, they're hot at all times. They fire up or they supply voltage to the powertrain control module all the time. So it basically is what keeps it alive, keeps its memory in it. It also, that fuse also controls the fuel pump relay, or it supplies power for the fuel pump relay. It doesn't control it. I would imagine that the reason they do that is because if that 20 amp fuse blows, they want the fuel pump to shut off also, which is pretty wise. So that fuse is going to end up firing up the computer and the supply power for the fuel pump relay. Pretty interesting so far.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah.
Isn't it? I feel like you're lying. You probably had no clue that it was going to be this interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. I should have put that on first. Cool. We probably won't show every socket.
Don't think so?
You think?
Oh, I think we should. We showed every clamp in the fuel system.
All right, so that'll be our 20 amp fuse, 12 gauge wire. Okay, so this wire will feed the fuse, okay? And this wire is going to go to our fuel pump relay. Okay, so that'll be our PCMB fuse. I'm going to check it just to make sure. I'll check it with an ohm meter. Check that one. And the end of this one. 0?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so for now, we'll just leave that shoved in there. All right. All right, so that circuit's done. The next circuit we're going to work on, it is C10, D10, and B9 in the connector number 2. It's a 15 amp fuse. These run to the fuel injectors and 4 of the ignition coils, so, or half of the fuel injectors and for the ignition coils. So, so let's find that in the plug. C10 and a D10. A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. So D10 there. You might notice all these wires are orange or pink. And you could literally just take all the orange and the pink wires out and supply 12 volts to them, and then find the starter wire, and it'll start. A, B, 12, 11, 10, 9. Okay. All right, so this wire here supplies power to 4 of the ignition coils, and then each one of these wires goes to its own individual fuel injector. All right, so not gonna do it.
Not gonna do it?
Not gonna do it. Okay, that one, and that one. So you notice I only pull them out of the connector, the ones that I need to work with, because if you start pulling them out and you don't have them marked really well, and you lose track of which ones you're doing, it's going to make things really difficult.
I would have went with blue wires personally.
Blue?
Uh-huh.
Why blue?
It's a little easier on the eyes.
What have we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wires bundled together for this one. Hot. It's very hot.
Very hot?
Yeah, very, very hot. Huh. So that'll be our next fuse. Okay. All right. It's upside down. I can't have that.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So. Okay. All right. So next circuit, same thing, but different wires. So they are E10, E6, and D9 on this plug. All right. So you showed them your picture.
Mm-hmm.
Did they like it?
I don't know.
A, B, C, D, E, 12, 11, 10. So that's E10 right there. What do you think? What color will it be? Hmm? Yep, pink. I was right.
Haha.
All right, so what's the next wire I need to pull out of here?
E6.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's right there. What color do you think this will be?
Pink.
Yep. How'd you know? Hmm? Good guess.
That's a good.
All right, what's my next one?
Next one is D9 for the coils.
B, C, D. 12, 11, 10, 9. Okay. What color do you think?
Pink.
Yep, you're right.
Yay.
Oh, I'm really gonna give you a hard one coming up. Serious, good question.
Uh-oh.
It'll stump you.
Doesn't take much.
So we found those in the plug. Same as before. Each one of these wires goes to its own injector. And this one goes to 4 of the ignition coils. Cut these wires off as long as you can. Don't cut them down here. There she goes. Oh, she's mad. She's mad today. Maybe we'll take a break in a little bit and we'll throw some frisbee for her.
Ooh, I bet she would like that. You wanna play frisbee? Ripley, you wanna go play frisbee?
Not with you guys.
Is it frisbee time?
You guys stink.
Oh my god. We don't stink.
Worst owners ever.
Where's your ball? Where'd your ball go?
What'd you do with your ball?
You wanna go find it? You better go find it.
Okay, so that, once we do the relays, that'll supply power. Those two will supply power to the injectors and the coils.
Yeah.
Okay, so, oh man, I said it.
Oh no.
So, next circuit that we're going to work with is the upstream oxygen sensors. In its fuse, or in the wiring diagram, it's called O2SA. So in the plug, I have to find terminal D8. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, D. D8. What color wires do you think it'll be? I'm not showing them. Take a guess.
Pink.
Yep, you're right. Pink.
Yay.
Huh, it's weird.
Huh.
Yep. And what size fuse does it have? 15 amp. You put it on the board there. Okay. This one's nice. We just got 2 wires to put together.
Yeah.
Yeah, da, da. How you doing? Huh? We'll take you out and play a little bit. I promise. It's like one of those things that you need to have 4 hands to do. If you could, you know, articulate them all at the same time. It'd be awesome. Well, I did the O2 sensor one. I pushed it through added its fuse, so that one's done. So we're going to do the electronic throttle control, one that supplies power to electronic throttle control. It's a great example. Like a lot of these they're not going to have that if you got an older one, or we've got one that we're going to do next that's not electronic, so it won't have that wire. So that's why a person has to come up with a wiring diagram for what you exactly have, so you can make sure you're grabbing the right wires for it. So this one is A9, 12, 11, 10, 9. So it'll be that one. All right. What color?
Pink.
Yep, it's pink. Huh. Wonders never cease. And it's just one wire on this one, which is nice. Huh?
Put the thing on.
Oh, that's right. Good catch. It's just like the hose clamp thing. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
So put that on. Put that on. Put it on. Whew. Okay. So whatever you do, don't put the fuse in upside down.
Yeah, the truck will go backwards.
Yeah. Plus I'll go nuts. So, okay, we're going to do the circuit that goes to the mass airflow sensor and the canister, or the purge valve solenoid. It's a 15 amp circuit. A12. Ooh, that's an easy one. 12, bottom row. Okay. But I'm going out on a limb saying it's pink.
Pink?
Yep.
Oh, wow, you're smart.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know stuff.
Oh, yeah.
All right. A12, B10. Okay. So apparently it goes to 4 different things since it's got 4 wires. So I know it goes to something else that we're not using. Oh, I know what it goes to. It's for the E85 function of it.
Oh.
So
So this would be an example of a wire that the L59 would have that
yeah.
a non-E85 LS wouldn't have.
Yep. Where's your ball go?
Where's your ball?
Where'd your ball go? Okay. All these circuits, except for the very first one that we did, they are controlled by the, I should know. Oh, yeah, the ignition 1 relay. And it runs all 7 or 8 of those circuits. So I'm gonna add some relays to it because I don't have the ability to crimp that many wires into one relay. So I'm gonna split it up into 3 relays, and that'll work just fine. This first relay, I got both the injectors and the coils going off it. So in the event that something happened with that relay, then the truck just wouldn't run, which is what you would want. You wouldn't want it to, run half your injectors and half your coils. And, so doing it this way, it'll shut both of them down. Doing that many wires would be just next to impossible.
Can you get a relay box like this with a bus bar?
Not that I haven't found one. You can buy a bus bar, you know, add that to it. But, I mean, where are you going to put one out here? It would look terribly stupid.
Yeah.
Alright, so we need to figure out how we're going to turn this relay on. So it's going to get turned on by this. So what we're doing is we're making basically the 3 relays that are. It used to be one. Well, it is on the truck that it came off of, but we don't have the ability to do that without crimping a bunch of wires together, and we're not going to do that. We're going to make sure each one's got a nice connection. I'd rather just add a relay versus having any kind of butt connectors in here. So these will be the key on crank relays.
So hot and run and crank.
Yep.
Or run and start, whatever you want to call it.
Yep. So there's the power supply for 3 of the relays. Each one of these will go to pin 87 on the relay, and it will power up 5 of those
Circuits.
yeah, circuits. So each one of our relays is going to need to be grounded in order to energize it. So I could do the ground for it. The benefit of a relay is just a switch, but it's able to be switched on by small wires. Like this is a 16 gauge wire. So for its ground, to energize it, that's all we're going to have going to pin 86 on each one of the relays. So the 3 relays that I did, they're all going to have their own ground. That one, power. Huh? Well, I'm just trying to get the seal down for the relay. That'll be one of the ignition 1 relays. Okay. Let's do another one. The white wires, that'll be the wire that'll trigger the relay to come on. This red wire, that'll be the 30 pin on the relay. It's the one that supplies the power to the relay. The black wire, that's the negative wire that grounds that relay to switch it on. Okay, so you understand that? How the relay, the white ones, they'll be the ones that'll turn the relay on. The black, they're just the ground for the switch to turn it on. Make sense?
Yeah, so your white ones are what's going to go to the original ignition wire?
Yep. Is this one that I soldered or you soldered? Shit. So that'll go to my pink wire. These go to ground. That'll turn those 3 relays on. Those are hot and run and crank. All right, so now we're doing the fuel pump relay. So we are getting into some wires that aren't pink. This one, it's circuit, or it's a A7. It's green and with a white stripe, dark green with a white stripe. And it is the one that comes from the PCM, the powertrain control module, and it turns that fuel pump on. The main reason you really need to use this one is it's also it turns it on for a couple seconds like it's supposed to prime the pump, so prime the fuel system. So this one is a very important wire. Okay. So it's the trigger wire for the fuel pump, the power wire, that'll go to it, hot at all times, and a ground to trigger the relay. So I'll put a little mark on this one. We know it's the fuel pump. Okay. All the other 3, they do the exact same thing. So not too worried about those. The grounding. Alright. Set power. Okay. All right, these three wires are the ones that are going to come from the pink wire from the original wiring in the truck, and that'll be hot and running crank. So okay, so all these are going to go to my pink wire. So is that right? Okay, it's pink. That's it. Okay, so that'll fire up my ignition 1 relays. Turn them on so we'll have it hot in run and crank. Okay. My yellow wire, that'll go to, I'm going to have another fuel pump relay because we got 2 fuel pumps. This one is going to go over, and this is going to be a trigger wire to fire up any other relays that I got to do in the other box. If that relay turns on, it's going to turn the others on in this other box, which we're going to need because we got cooling fans that we got to use. So that's done. Now, crank is what we need. So the starting circuit is what we got to look at next. All right, now we got to get this cranking circuit to work. We're going to go from, you're going to figure out what your crank wire was, the wire that used to come out of your firewall, and go down to your starter solenoid to engage it. On a Chevy pickup, it's purple. It's a great big 12 gauge purple wire, so it's real easy to find. The way the system works, when you turn your key on, it's going to pass 12 volts through that, and it's going to supply 12 volts to the PCM, and that lets the PCM know that it's okay to crank the engine over. The other part of the circuit, it runs through a relay. It has a starter solenoid relay, so we're going to have battery voltage at pin 30 on the starter relay. 87 will end up going to the solenoid. We'll have to find F9 and the C2 connector, and we'll have a 10 amp fuse going to that, and it passes all the way down through the transmission PRN, what is it, PRNLD? PRNLD switch, or Perndle.
It's the Perndle.
And the neutral safety switch. It's closed in the park and neutral position, and that'll supply power to F11 in the C2 connector, which goes to pin 85 on the relay. So in order to make the truck crank over, all that has to happen, but the PCM ends up grounding out pin 86, and it closes the contacts between 30 and 87, and it makes that starter solenoid engage. So that's what we got to wire up next, and it's the last circuit.
Yeah.
Except for the fuel pumps, just
Yeah.
because we got dual fuel pumps. But other than that, if we just have one fuel pump,
Yeah.
You fire it up.
Cooling fans.
Yeah, but
Who needs those?
who needs fans?
It's fine.
We could blow on it. So. Okay, so this wire is just coming through the firewall, and it's going to go to a fuse. It's going to go through a fuse. So my the purple crank wire that comes from the 85 C10, I'm going to go to a blue wire. I don't have a purple wire, so it has to go through from the firewall. It has to go through a fuse. So we're gonna have to. I gotta add a box because I'm running out of space. So we'll have 2 boxes. We got more relays to run anyway, so we're gonna do that one. We'll do, and then we got to find F3, and this wire goes to the powertrain control module, and it tells the computer to crank the engine over. So A, B, C, D, E, F, 1, 2, 3. So, and it's purple. Huh. Starter wires are always purple on these things. So this wire is the wire that goes from the purple wire on your ignition switch, basically. And when you go to crank it, this wire feeds 12 volts to the powertrain control module, and that tells it to go ahead and crank the engine over. Come a little that wire. So that's the wire coming from your original purple wire to turn the starter on. And now it is going through a 10 amp fuse, and will tell the PCM to crank the engine over. That's done. So now we need a starter relay. Now we need to find D12 in the harness. A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. So that's D12, all right? So this yellow wire is the one that it grounds the starter relay to engage the starter solenoid. So come on, get out of it. So since this is grounding, I'm going to run it to pin 86. Here, while we're at it, let's just do the other one too. So F11 is the one that supplies power. So the other wire that we would need would be the starter solenoid wire. And what number is it? It's supposed to be? We'll check it just to be sure.
D11.
Okay, so A, B, C, D, 11. It's that one. what that does. Okay, so this is the D11. It goes from the relay down to the starter solenoid to engage the starter. This is probably the most important one out of all of them, though. You know?
The starter?
Sure.
Yeah, you definitely want that one.
You're in big trouble when the starter doesn't work.
What are you eating? What are you eating? Come here. Hey, what are you eating? Let me see. Yep. Yep, that's a rock. You're a genius.
So we just got to do that one. That'll be the power coming to it. And then we'll have to find F11 in the plug, right? Or F9. We'll have to find F9 in the plug. And that's it. Bing, bang, boom. It's all done.
Yeah.
Okay. Put the little thing over. Make sure you do that. Soldering. Going to solder, I guess I should say. Crimping. Oh, I wonder if anybody's ever had a cramp while they crimp.
A crimp?
Yeah, cramp. If anybody has, I'm surprised I haven't today.
Yeah, really.
Let's just find F9. Okay. So A, B, C, D, E, F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, all right. So we're done looking for wires in that thing. Okay. So that's kind of a milestone. I mean, we are for now, but this is what it takes to make it run. The other wires that are in there, we'll have to work with them still, but just because we're doing air conditioning and cruise control and stuff.
Ripley. What are you eating?
Nothing. Oh man, I forgot to put the thing in it.
Oh, you want to eat that too? What are you eating? Are you eating a zip tie? Come here. Give me it.
I'm really hungry. Okay. All right. So I got the fuse for the neutral safety switch. That 10 amp one. My power comes over from one of my other relays, so it's hot in run and crank. So it feeds to the starter relay. So that wire there goes and it supplies power to the starter relay. So okay. So and then my starter relay, can put it in there. Goes to that one. That one grounds the right? No, the yellow one grounds it out to energize the relay. The green one supplies power to it, and this wire is the wire that goes down to the actual starter solenoid. Okay. All right, so we got one last wire, the wire that supplies power to the transmission, the shift solenoids. It's F11, right?
E11.
E11, A, B, C, D, E, 11. Okay. So we're done messing with that thing for a while. The truck will officially run with all these wires done. All right, my last solder. Cool off a little. Okay. No relays. Mini relays. Fuel pump relay. Ignition relay. Ignition relay. And starter relay.
Sweet.
Okay. So somewhere or another we'll have to clean all this up, make it look good. Wires coming from the ignition and the starter. So if we just bundle these together and tied them to it, and then put power to this wire, if we tied it into it, it would start up and run. Oh, plus hook up the ground.
Yeah, ground's
That'll
important.
Yeah. You believe me?
Sure.
All right, so let's take all of the power wires. These 4 power wires are going to go to the ignition 1 relay. So we'll keep them together. And then this is the crank relay, and it has its own 40 amp fuse that comes off the battery. So these have a 40 amp fuse, and this one has its own 40 amp fuse. So that should be it for supplying power to everything. So now we need to run power to our fuel pumps. And these are wires coming up from our fuel pump. The red wire, that's my left hand fuel pump, so I'd call that one like the primary one. And then the blue wire is the right hand power going to that fuel pump. So how are we gonna switch over? Huh?
Or are we gonna switch the tanks?
Yeah. How would we do that? We already got the one fuel pump relay that's got power when it's in the running crank position. Okay. So technically, if you just had one pump, this yellow one here would fire up that one pump.
Yeah.
But we have to separate it somehow. So I say we do it with a relay. Huh?
That sounds cool.
Yeah. You know how much I like relays.
Relays are friends.
Yes.
If you watched our last video, you would know that.
Right. So.
Okay, so.
Okay, no big surprise, but we're going to switch the 2 fuel tanks over with using a relay. And now we're going to delve into the 5th pin on a relay. The 5th pin is 87A. It's in the center of the relay. See it right there. That pin, when you supply power to pin 30 on the relay, when the switch is closed, okay, so it has power at 87A at all times then when the switch isn't energized. So we're going to have power going through pin 30 that come from the original fuel pump relay, and it'll go to pin 87A, and that will feed power to the left fuel tank. Okay, so when we take our selector switch then and we supply battery voltage to pin 85, it is going to shut that off between pin 87A and 30, and it's going to close that circuit between 30 and 87, and it'll energize the right hand tank. So that's what we're going to wire up next. This is the wire that comes from the fuel pump relay that we just wired up. It's the one that gets turned on by the powertrain control module. But now we're going to have it going into another relay. So how's your burrito?
Very good.
It's nice. Have a burrito. Where's that from?
El Monterey frozen breakfast burritos.
Are they a sponsor?
No, but they should be. El Monterey, call me. Big fan of your chimichangas.
We love El Monterey products here at Ugly Truck. We have one every morning for breakfast.
I do. It's great.
I'm going to add some power in here. What have other things to run?
Other things.
We also have to wire the truck up. The wires going to the interior fuse panel.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Like we have to do that before we can start it?
Yeah, because that's how it gets powered to run through the ignition. Which one did I say we were going to do?
30.
So now, what do we say? Blue's the left tank, red's. So technically, right now, once I plug this one in, and I plug a relay in,
Yeah.
it would fire up the right tank.
Sweet.
And, if we put power to all these wires, the truck would fire up too.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Huh?
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is fun. People think I'm nuts for soldering everything.
A lot of other things that make you a crazy person, though.
What, my collection of cat pictures?
Yeah.
Cat posters, pictures, plates, anything cat related.
Can't help it, you're a cat man.
I wonder if there's anybody out there that really likes cats that much. You know?
I don't know.
If they have like cat videos and things like that. That'd be crazy.
Have you ever been on the internet?
Ow.
Is it hot?
Hot. Hot, hot, hot. Okay, so then we need a ground and a way to figure out which wire is going to power that up. Right?
Right.
Okay. Problem is, in order to do it, we got to get some power going to the truck and fire something up. Okay. So we gotta work on our power for just a second.
Okay.
Thing of big. So we need to supply power to the inside fuse panel on the truck. So I got to fix the wiring going to that so we can see which one of the leads for the fuel selector switch is hot when it's in whichever position it's in. So the original ones, they were fused by fusible link. I redid the fusible links going to them. One of them originally went to the alternator, and then the other one went to this junction box, but we don't need one going to the alternator, so we're going to get power off of this junction box right there. And this one's an important one to have there because that other lead, that supplies power to the high blower relay too. So if you thought you were going to get rid of that one and not have it, then you'd have to figure out something different for your high blower relay. But it's an easy way to do it, just using that old junction box. And then this is the wire that will go to a 40 amp fuse that goes to the battery. So, and it's the same 40 amp fuse that fires up all the hot and run and crank stuff. So, and then we gotta hook up our ground. And if you could set the camera up, you could do the ground while I do the.
Okay.
We just need to put an end on it and add it to these grounds right here.
Oh, I see.
You know. Okay, so we got a ground for our relays. We got all my power leads going to that battery lead for that one. We got all the fuses in there. Okay, so when we hook the battery up,
Wait for sparks.
yep. What's she doing?
I'm trying to eat something off the cart. What are you doing? Come here. You come here. What were you doing? What were you doing?
You guys are horrible.
What were you doing?
You think there's power inside the truck?
Hope so. Door buzzer works. Ooh.
Nothing's burning.
Yay.
All the wires. None of them are hot.
Stop eating things.
See if we can get some fuel pressure.
So it should kick the pump on for a couple seconds.
Yep, every time I cycle the key, it should. Even though we don't have this thing wired up completely.
Yeah.
We've got it so the left-hand tank will work no problem. Technically, right now, if I turn the key to the run position, the fuel pressure should build up.
Okay.
What do we got?
Nothing. Oh, now it's starting. There we go. There we go. It's like 46.
All right, just wait there.
Okay. It's like 53, 54, 52, 53.
Should we see if it runs?
Oh yeah.
Doesn't have any coolant in it, so we won't be able to run it very long. But first start on the LS swap. See if it runs.
Cross your fingers.
What do you think? What's your bet? Right, watch the fuel pressure when it runs.
Okay.
Yes. Perfect.
Awesome. I think the exhaust sounds really good.
Sounds better than the 70.
It does not. Why would you even say that?
Starts faster.
Does not.
Doesn't smoke.
That's true. Yeah. Like this point in the build is where the 70 is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got wires. I got zip ties.
It's perfect.
Yeah. That's all you need.
Well, it's pretty nice after doing that much work to hear that thing run. So what's left to do on this thing? We've got the wiring to the point where I just need to start cleaning up everything. I'll make a little holder for my fuse boxes, and then I got to mount some 40 amp fuses on the outside of it and make it look nice, basically. I still have to add a couple relays to do the dual fuel tanks and the sending units. So I already built a battery box for it. We didn't show you that, but I built the battery box for it out of the 2005 Suburban. I just had to weld a couple more brackets onto it and put the battery in the position that it was in the Suburban. So the computer's down in the original spot. So bracket to hold the coolant bottle up and run the heater hoses, and then put the upper radiator hose on, and we can fill it up with coolant and run it, plus put an accelerator pedal in it. So there's a little bit to do to it yet. So next time you see it, we might be putting air conditioning in it. By that time, we'll have some of those other things done. If there's something you're curious about or whatever, just put it in a comment or something, or drop us a line and let us know what you're interested in, what we didn't do, and we'll see if we can't do a video on it.
And if you guys learned anything from this video, please let us know. It's been really cool to be able to chat with you guys in the comments and hear what you're working on and if you've been able to learn something from our videos. But thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next video, and we will catch you next time.